Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Welcome to this Labor Day edition of New Life Live. I'm your host, Brian Perez, and here we are ready to talk to you about whatever it is that you are going through. We've got licensed marriage and family therapist JJ West with us, also clinical psychologist Dr. Jill Hubbard. JJ, how are you doing today? Jill, how are you doing today?
Sorry, my microphone was muted. I'm doing really good other than technology, apparently.
Well, yeah, tech. That can get in the way of several things. But so you're doing good. Yay. Jill, you're doing all right?
Yes,
awesome.
I am.
Awesome. How do you want to start today's program?
Okay, but I'm starting with a serious topic.
Okay.
So the topic of suicide, never a fun thing to talk about.
No.
And never a fun call to receive like I did this weekend. So someone I know has someone they know that's very close to them, who I know as an acquaintance, ended their life over the weekend. I had just seen the person a week prior. What I didn't know was they were the third person in their family in the last few years to take their life.
Oh, wow.
Which is so sad and so tragic. And so, of course, this person is calling me saying, okay, Jill will know what to do and say. And yet, when you hear the news of this, and even I felt shocked about the news, right? There's shock, there's disbelief, there's like, wait a minute, I just saw the person. The people calling me had tremendous guilt. We should have known, we should have done something, right? Most people are not trained as, are not part of the PET team, the psychiatric evaluation team, where they know what to look for in things. And this idea of it running in families, and it does. There actually are genetic components to it. I mean, there's all kinds of research that they're doing about that, and also inherited predispositions to impulsive behavior. So certainly some of the risk factors, if you have a family history of suicide, that's a huge risk factor. If you have adverse childhood experiences, trauma, things like that in your background, that's a huge risk factor. If there is mental illness of any kind, depression, anxiety, bipolar, psychotic disorders, things like that, that's a risk factor and are things to be aware of, right? And that, when you've had family members that have done it, there's kind of this taunting, compulsion, and the unresolved grief that you feel, sometimes a desire to be with the person. Well, that's what they chose. So that must be my lot in life too. And then certainly when you mix in substance abuse. So often if you find substance abuse, lack of sleep, along with some of these other risk factors, that can play a role in it. And a hopelessness, right? Or even like chronic pain and illness. And when people are isolated, we're always talking about people who are isolated. And isolation is the worst distorter of truth. So, what can we do? We want to be aware, we want to stay connected, but we can't blame ourselves, right? There's also a National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. You can call or text 988. You can also text the word TALK, T-A-L-K, to 741-741. You can have the person evaluated if you think you can help remove lethal methods if it's safe. Right? You can be with the person and not leave them alone if you think they're suicidal. And we always take it seriously. Even when people are doing it for attention, you take it seriously.
Yes, very important words. To begin our episode today of New Life Live, we're heading to a break and then we'll go to the phones. Kay, you will be first up here on New Life Live.
Every marriage faces seasons of difficulty, and whether you're working through betrayal or feeling emotionally distant or simply just roommates, Know this, you're not alone and there's hope. Renewing Love is 90 minutes. I want you to invest just this 1.5 hours. We're going to talk about how to navigate seasons of distance and disconnection with grace. We're going to give you practical steps to begin rebuilding trust after betrayal or hurt. We're going to teach you how to invite God into your marriage for healing and renewal. We're going to give you simple tools to strengthen communication and emotional connection, and steps to move forward with hope, faith, and lasting love. And it's not just information, it's an invitation to heal, to reconnect, to trust again, and discover that God can make all things new, even your marriage.
The Renewing Love Marriage webinar is Tuesday evening, September 16th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go online to newlife.com. 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
A big New Life Live welcome to our listeners on KSPD in Boise, Idaho. So glad you found us, guys. Call
Hello,
in.
Boise.
Yes, we would love to hear from you. Now, Liz, we're going to talk to you after we speak with Kay in Washington, D.C., listening on WAVA. Welcome, Kay, to New Life Live.
Hello. Thank you.
Yeah. How can we help you today? How are you?
I'm okay. So I have a quick question. My husband and I are separated at this moment. We got married a little over a year ago, and we separated back in May because he was in recovery, and he used once, and because there are children in the household, well, he used marijuana. He started using marijuana shortly after we got married, and recovery from hard drugs. He started using marijuana a little shortly after we moved in. And then at some point he used, and he said he only used once, but, I'm not sure of all the details. But long story short is we ended up separating because there are children in the household. I just couldn't run the risk of being lied to and him actively using. He is a veteran, so he does have some PTSD. He's not getting any help. He's chosen to self-medicate. And he refuses to have any deep conversations. He's on his phone a lot. And so any fun time that we're supposed to have together, a family time, typically ends up in us having some type of spat or argument. Sometimes it's in front of the kids, and it feels draining. It feels like a roller coaster. I think we both trigger each other, but I try to still pursue to make peace. But part of our pattern is something happens and he comes back the next day like nothing happened. And there's never a resolve to talking. He hates talking about things. He doesn't want to talk about it. And so it's starting to feel draining. It's starting to feel impossible.
Okay.
And so, yes.
You're in relationship with an addict. They avoid everything, right? That's why they use to, like you said, to self-medicate and to numb out feelings and problems.
Okay.
Right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we pray every day. We go to read a psalm or something in the Bible every day, and he does come to church. So I just don't know what to do because it's starting to feel, how can I say it? Like draining, like effortless. Like, what's the point if I just feel continued, stepped on every time I attempt to come back and show love and to show goodness and kindness? And it seems to be unappreciated sometimes. And however, the individual comes back the next day and just, someone come who hurt you and then come back and laugh with you.
Yeah, not okay.
And act like nothing happened. And I've made calls to get help and things like that. And, part of the separation agreement is him going to get help. And it's been 3 months. And now I think he's drinking as well. I believe he is.
Okay. Because
so it's going in the opposite direction.
Right. Yeah. Because he's now alone and free. There's no restraints on him doing things.
Yes.
And you said
he doesn't like being alone. He's a veteran, so I get the PTSD thing, and I understand that he has a lot going on, but I feel like I'm sacrificing myself and my sanity and my emotions and my needs to be there for him all the time, but nothing is reciprocated. So it's like being a mom and being drained by your husband in addition to being a single mom while married is becoming like
so hard.
Mentally,
it's a lot. It's a lot to carry. Yeah.
JJ,
Jay,
what would you add?
You said that your husband was in recovery for narcotics.
Yeah, he did the recovery. He did the detox. He came out.
Meaning when you say he did recovery, he did what? He did a 12-step group? He did what?
He did 28 days in a program.
Okay.
And then he was going to meetings.
So
and
he
then
did
again,
rehab. He did rehab.
Right.
He went
rehab,
to rehab.
Yes.
Okay.
Detox and rehab.
Okay, gotcha. And at that rehab location, do you know, did they go through some sort of step work to help him to identify the patterns for him of why he does what he does and why he turns, what is it that he's turning from when he turns to drugs and alcohol?
I would think so, because it was a 28-day program. They did a lot of work with him, and they also gave him like resources and, set up a plan for when he left. And
okay. And did the plan when he left include ongoing group work, individual work, accountability?
Meetings.
Okay, and is he doing all of that?
Meetings, everything. He's done none of it. He started going to the meetings. And then,
okay, so he's not in recovery. He did rehab, but he's not in recovery. He's not doing the thing. To be in recovery means that I'm doing the steps, I'm following the steps, the plan, the strategy for living a different life. What he did was rehab. He did detox at rehab. He went through the program. But if he's not doing any of the steps that they laid out for him, the plan for aftercare, then he's not in recovery anymore. He's in relapse. Now, he hasn't turned back to all of the harder drugs that he was doing before, but he is in relapse, and it's only a matter of time before he goes back to all of those drugs that he used to use, because he's not turning towards something else. He's just tried to stop using the drugs.
Yeah, I feel like he has one foot in and one foot out. Like he wants to still tamper with stuff. Like marijuana is something he actively uses, and of course it's said that he's found that we can treat something, and self-medicating, and he has very hard mood swings sometimes, and so I don't know what to do, because I'm trying to honor the Lord in marriage and keep the commitment and the vows, but I also just feel like I'm being lied to, and he just doesn't look like he has any plan to do any work anytime soon.
Yeah, you said that the separation agreement included things like he would actively pursue recovery, and he hasn't done anything since the separation. And in fact, he's doing other more problematic behavior. What was the consequence in the separation agreement if those requirements weren't met?
We would not come back together yet, but there was no definitive next step.
Okay, gotcha. Just a lack of
it's just an open
restoration.
Separation.
Right. Of reconciliation. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Jill?
Well, I think, continuing, JJ, with what you were saying, the rehab was a first step. Getting through the detox is important, having separation from the drugs and alcohol. But without the aftercare, recovery is a lifelong journey. And there has to be a surrender. So he checked the box, but until you really surrender and realize you can't do this on your own. See, and it's very hard for addicts, because addiction, it just hijacks your brain. And and they want to be in control. And so they think, well, I can just do it a little bit. And that's a lie. So as much as they lie, or he lies to you, Kay, he's lying to himself as well. And this is the fastest, easiest way he knows to numb out everything that he feels, to deal with the PTSD and the losses. And yet it just is creating more loss for him. And that's what's so sad. And sometimes, they have to get to a point where, one, out of love and kindness, you care about him. And you don't see a path forward without him really surrendering to recovery and working an active program. And that you want that for him, right? That living this way is only a downward spiral, and it comes in between relationship. So he's more in relationship with pot and alcohol than he is with you. And they're really, the more he leans on that, the less room there is for you. And I would think that would make you very sad. And that's important to say to him, and to let him know that you think the path forward for the two of you is him first getting, into recovery by surrendering. That just means showing up at meetings, getting a sponsor, doing it day in and day out, right?
Working the steps.
Buying into it, working the steps, and committing to that.
Yeah, he thinks he can do a lot of things on his own, and that's the problem. It's like there's this like gung-ho, hoorah attitude of I can do this, and it's like the bottom is falling out daily.
Right. Okay, that's how you know you're talking to an addict.
Yes.
The 3-word phrase, the 3-word motto of every addict is, I got this.
Don't worry.
I've got this. I can handle this. I can do this. And real recovery is when we get to the end of ourselves and we recognize I cannot fix my broken self with my broken self. Yeah. It's not possible. I have to. And that's why in the first 3 steps, my life is out of control and unmanageable, that a power greater than myself, we would say God, that a power greater than myself can and wants to restore my life to sanity, and that I came to surrender my will and my life to his care. If I don't do that, if I keep holding on to I can fix myself with my broken self, I'm always going to spin in a circle. I'm never going to make any progress. So it's important that he gets to that place. You can't get him there, right? We can't fix, change, or control others. But we can influence the way other people think and respond. And you're absolutely right. It's so vital because there are children involved. Your primary responsibility is to protect them because they can't protect themselves. And so you're absolutely right and validated. I want to validate you that that's the good decision to say you can't make these choices, live this way, and bring it into our home where our children are impacted by those unhealthy decisions.
All right, Kay, thank you for your phone call today on New Life Live. I think we'll send you a copy of Understanding and Loving a Person with Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder. That's available for purchase in the newlife.com store. So stay on the phone and we'll send that out to you. Now let's talk to Liz in Midland, Texas, who is listening on Sirius XM channel 131. Hi, Liz. How can we help you today?
Hi. I just had a quick question about tithing. I believe in tithing 10%, but had a discussion with my brother recently about that, and his opinion was that we should make sure and give 10% directly to our church and the church that we go to, and not include donations to other entities that also do good, and just wanted to know your opinion on that.
So he's saying 10% only to your church, and if you want to give to another organization, that's got to come above the 10%? Is that what he's saying?
Yes, that's what he is.
Okay. Yes, JJ, any thoughts on that?
Well, it's a little tricky because the 10% is not a hard and fast rule. It certainly is the likely teaching, I will say that. That's the norm, if you will, that most people say, the tithe is a tenth. When we get into the New Testament, really our tithes and offerings, it needs to be 100%. In other words, God, I'm surrendering everything to you, and it's up to you to tell, it's up to you what I do with all of my money and all of my time and all of my resources. Now, if you believe, Liz, that you've been called to support not only your local church, but some other organizations, whether those are parachurch organizations or those are secular organizations that do good in the community or whatever. And you believe that that's all included in your 10th. Okay. I'm not gonna tell you you're wrong. I'm not gonna tell you that God didn't say that. I'm gonna let God lead you in that. I don't think that it's hard for us to say, no. God clearly says we have to only give a 10th to our church, when in fact, when the tithe was established, there wasn't a church. There was a different situation going on. So we can come back on the other side of the break with more, but that's where I would start.
Yeah, I think we should talk about it, and we also want to talk to Julie, so don't hang up, Julie. But yeah, there might be an underlying issue here that we need to address too. So Liz, stay on the phone. We'll come back to you in just a moment. If you've just joined us, you are listening or watching New Life Live. I'm your host, Brian Perez, here with Dr. Jill Hubbard and J.J. West, and we are taking your calls about whatever it is that you're going through, whatever struggles you're facing. We want to help you here at New Life Live. That's why we're here.
Here at New Life, we want you to have transformation. And so we have created the New Life courses, and you meet weekly on Zoom with a coach or counselor. You're going to have teaching as well as that group connection, because we know how powerful that is. We hear that all the time about our intensives, that they love the information, but the group process is so powerful. And many of you have been hesitant to participate because you're not sure, the timing, the price. The New Life courses are going to meet you right at that area of need. Every week you're meeting on Zoom with that therapist. You're going over the concepts as well as connecting as a group. It is so powerful, and it's accessible. Wherever you are, you're going to be able to join us.
Embark on your journey of personal growth and self-discovery in September with a New Life course. Lose it for life, take your life back, or healing is a choice. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Club New Life changes lives.
I think I go way back to listening to New Life, learning so much from it, and then becoming a Club New Life member.
Club New Life is a monthly giving family that helps New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people.
I'm so thankful because why I keep giving? Because I keep learning, and I'm so thankful for all the lives that you touch every day and the people's lives. So when I get to still hear the radio show, it's just so encouraging to my heart.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
And one reason I give? Because I feel like sometimes I'm hiding behind a counselor's couch, listening to all this great information and not paying, so my guilt of this great advice is alleviated by being a Club New Life member.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. And together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
And let's go back to Liz in Midland, Texas, who called in with the situation. She's tithing, and she's divvying up the 10% among her church and other organizations. Her brother says, nope, you give that 10% only to the church if you want to give to other organizations. Like New Life, for example. It's got to come above that 10%.
You were a little biased.
A little.
Right.
So I'm wondering if there's like an underlying issue here. Has there ever been, maybe in the past or even presently, some, fear or something of God meeting all your needs? Or like, why are you calling with this question today?
Right. Family issues, you and your brother.
Right.
No. It's every family's complicated, right? So I guess sometimes there can be that.
So no scarcity issues.
No what?
Scarcity issues.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. But your brother's very much, it has to be the 10%, and this is how you do it. So he's very convinced he's right about that.
No, I wouldn't say that at all.
Oh, okay.
It was just a conversation that we had, and he had heard that before. That's what I guess. Actually, I think a preacher had told him once that you should give 10% just to the church, and if you want to do something else, it should be above that. So that was it was not a
Right. Okay.
conversation that we
Okay.
had. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've always learned that, we first take care of our local church.
Yeah.
Just like in New Testament times where they first took care of the body of believers that they were with. And then, but also that the 10%, JJ, like you were saying, isn't hard and fast. There's certainly, references to it in the Bible, but that, I tend to ask the Lord, okay, how much should I give? Here are my resources, and kind of what gets laid on my heart and where.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But not neglecting the local church.
I think the reason we brought up scarcity was just because we weren't sure if maybe you were thinking, well, wait a minute, I can barely get by on the 90% that I have, so my brother's saying I should even give more than that. But no, I got to keep that because what if I give too much to my church or to these organizations, and now I have less for myself? I don't know. Yeah. JJ?
Sure.
I do think that it's certainly a common understanding of the tithe that it is 10%. It's 10%. It's a tenth of your income. That's a common understanding of that. We do have to keep in mind that it's important that we don't make hard and fast rules where God has not stated such. There's an assumption in the New Testament that a believer tithes. So Jesus, when he taught about tithing, he didn't say if or hey, let me explain tithing to you. He said, when you tithe, do it this way. So there was just an assumption about tithing. But there was not an instruction in the New Testament about how much specifically the tithe was. As Jill talked about early on in the church, when the church was being established, people in the church gave out of their resources. They gave to the local church, and the local church used those resources to care for the orphans and widows, to make sure that those who were in roles of leadership and teaching had ways to support themselves and their families. But we didn't have things like buildings to take care of, rent to pay, electricity, those sorts of things. Those weren't in place at the time. So obviously now a church budget looks very different than it did in the first century. Consequently, our tithe is probably going to look different now than it did in the first century. So we don't want this. We don't want to be these people who go, wait, hold on. If you're not giving a tenth, then you're not a faithful follower. What we want to do is say, are you wanting to honor God in the way that you live, in the way that you give, and are you trusting God to provide for you no matter what? Those are the bigger questions, rather than am I making sure that I'm giving this dollar amount that matches with what you say is what God requires of me.
Just be a cheerful giver. Mm-hmm. That's what it comes down to. All right, Liz, thanks for calling in today. We're going to send you a copy of Dr. Henry Cloud's Trust book just for calling in today. And now let's go to Julie, who is in Indiana. Or is it Pennsylvania? No, it's both. There's a city in Pennsylvania called Indiana. And that's where Julie's calling from, listening on WORD. Hi there, Julie. Thanks for calling into New Life Live.
Hey, thanks for taking the call. Very interesting show, and I don't know if you've already gone past this because I haven't caught the whole show, but my issue today is, how do we trust? How do we learn to trust again? There's so many broken trusts that you start questioning everything. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's getting very frustrating because even some of the local churches that I've attended, they've broken the trust in confidentiality of talking with the pastor and then hearing it from somebody else. Wow. And it's a real wow, because it's like, that was my basic trust platform anyways. I figured, you could at least trust in the churches, but out of 3 different ones that I've gone to, it's been basically the same. And from what I understand, they all kind of talk among themselves. And so I don't know how far the trust is broken. And that's not my concern. That's God's concern. But my big thing is, where do we go to church? And, driving an hour away is not impossible, but with winter coming, that's not something that I would like to do. Right. And I know when the phone call was first answered, I was saying about trust in my health issues as well, and going to a doctor for 10 to 12 years, and he's Chinese, and his attitude has changed. And I don't know if that's out of fear of people now or if he's part of the communist kind of program. It's kind of everything in my life at this point is just kind of up in the air.
All right. We'll talk to you when we come back from the break, Julie. Stand by here on New Life Live.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found life recovery. And one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learn a lot from your program.
You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
And let's go back to Indiana, Pennsylvania, or is it Pennsylvania, Indiana? No, it's Indiana, Pennsylvania. Julie's still on the phone with us. Thank you for holding through the break. And
you at least get a laugh here, Julie.
Yeah. Trying to help you with this, with these trust issues that you have. So it's your doctor, your health insurance, your churches. I mean,
these are all, entities, systems, people that we tend to put on a pedestal, that the category of pastor is supposed to be someone you can trust. The category of doctor is someone you go with your health, you're vulnerable. Certainly you shared vulnerable things with the pastors. And so to hear that that's been violated, that's devastating. Mm-hmm. And so it can tend to get generalized. And it's like, well, wait a minute, maybe I'm off in thinking these roles of people should be trustworthy. Here's the thing. These roles are filled by, broken people. And while a role we ought to be able to see as trustworthy, individuals aren't always. And so that is something, unfortunately, you have learned through being hurt. Yeah. To have to keep changing churches looking for someone who's trustworthy is a hard thing. And one of the things is that we don't just automatically hand over our trust, right? We kind of maybe stick our toe in the water and see how a person responds and see. And I always say, you trust someone to the degree that they are trustworthy. And so sometimes we take graduated steps in that, right? Instead of just assuming because someone's a pastor, they're trustworthy, maybe we trust them with lesser things first. Or we, get to know them over time and establish more of a connection there. But I'm also wondering, too, about maybe going back in and trying to repair and letting them know that this was hurtful to you.
Yes.
I think that would be important. And maybe there's someone else in the church that you are close to and that you do trust that you could run this by, and maybe even have a friend go with you to meet with the pastor and say, I heard these things got out, and I'm confused by that. I don't know how to make sense of it. And it's hurt me, and it's made me even want to change churches. But I think,
Jill, that's so key, because you're absolutely right. There are people in all of these institutions and places who are fallible, just like we are. And so we want to be people of grace. We want to extend the same grace that's been extended to us, or at least the same grace that we would want extended to us. That when I make a mistake, when I sin against someone, I want the grace that says, I love you, I want good for you, and I want to give you the opportunity to repair what you broke. In this case, trust was broken. And so I want to give you the opportunity to repair that. That doesn't happen overnight. That takes time to rebuild trust, because, it's not a neutral thing, right? We just start off neutral. I don't know if I can trust you. You don't know if you can trust me. And we build up trust. We become someone we trust. When you have a violation of trust, you don't go back to neutral. You become someone I know I cannot trust. So it's going to take time to get back to being someone I can trust again. But we want to be people of grace who offer that opportunity for the other person, or in some cases, the other parties, plural, to rebuild or restore trust by repairing what was broken. Now, if you give that opportunity and the other person is resistant, I didn't break any trust with you. What are you talking about? Or you should just get over it. Why are you harping on something that isn't important? Blah, 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 blah. If that's the case, that's when you go, okay, I need to separate. I need to break fellowship with you because you're not repentant. You're not trying to repair what's broken. But if there is that response of, you're so right, I'm sorry, I should not have shared that information with someone else, I broke your trust and I want to rebuild, that's a different story. And now I don't have to break fellowship. Now we can learn to reconcile together because of the grace that was given to us at the cross through Jesus.
So I keep hearing this word trust, so I think we should send a copy of the Trust book to Julie.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah, thanks for calling in today from Pennsylvania. We'll get that book to you. Thank you so much. Now let's go to Donna, who is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, not too far from Indiana, I think. I don't know. Listening on WWNL. Welcome, Donna, to New Life Live.
Yes, I was just calling in regarding that mother that lost a child that was just on. My radio was breaking up really bad. I could not hear very much. The only thing I have to offer to her is distractions. Keep as busy as you can.
You've been through this, Donna?
I've lost a 38-year-old son, and I lost a 16-year-old son.
Wow.
My 38-year-old I lost 5 years ago from, a disease. And my 16-year-old, we lost, he was sick for maybe 3 weeks from it.
Wow.
Yeah. And it completely destroyed me.
Yeah.
And I have no joy, and time does not make it any better, and I guess I'm numb. I'm numb, and I have other responsibilities. I still have a teenage son I take care of, and I have a preteen handicapped 24/7 handicapped child that I take care of, my son, and it's like nonstop distractions. If I don't put, I'm always running, always doing something. I cannot have any idle time, period. I read the Bible in the morning. I pray all day long. And that I did hear that lady said people ask her how she's doing. The best, I used to say Tosca, which means the deepest, most agonizing pain ever. But now they just looked at me weird. I just say, I'm getting by. I'm getting by because I'm not good. I will never be good. I just biding my time for when it's my time to, and hopefully God will accept me.
So Donna, I've got to say a couple things. One, I'm just so sorry for how much loss you have suffered. It's unbelievable, and I can't imagine the pain that you have been carrying for so many years. And you're absolutely right. Time doesn't heal. Time alone doesn't heal. Now, when time is combined with actively pursuing healing by letting myself grieve, then it can lead to healing. But I want to challenge you, Donna, and I don't know you, and I hate to even say this because I'm far be it from me to be an expert on your life, having never met you, only talked to you for a couple minutes here. But I will say that there's a danger in the approach that you're suggesting of just staying distracted all the time. And it goes to this. There's, in the Proverbs 14:12, it says, there's a way that seems right to us, but in the end it leads only to death. And I think this may be one of those things that falls into that category where it seems right, it seems likely. If I stay busy enough and I keep myself distracted enough, I don't have to feel the pain of that loss. And I get that because I don't want to feel that kind of pain. You don't want to feel that kind of pain. But it does go back to something that Jill referenced and I talk about all the time, that grief oftentimes shows up as an uninvited guest. We don't expect it. And when grief shows up, if we try to keep grief at bay, keep grief at the door knocking, and I'm going to go busy myself with the laundry and the dishes and the whatever and caring for this person and that person, I never give myself that time to feel the weight of the loss. And so it stays at the same level. But if instead I take time to let myself feel, and I invite God into that space to say, God, would you sit here with me while I grieve, while I pour out my pain, while I pour out my heart? As I do that, it doesn't go away completely, but the pain begins to lessen in its intensity and in its frequency. And that allows me not to get to a place where I don't grieve anymore, but it allows me to get to a place where I don't have to feel afraid of those feelings.
Okay, we're coming up to our break, Donna, so stay right where you are here on New Life Live, and we'll hear what Dr. Jill Hubbard has to say. In fact, do you have a few thoughts before the break begins?
Just that, wow, I feel the same heaviness for Donna, and also her having a handicapped child. That's a lot to bear, and it's understandable, the tactics she's taking. And some days just feel like survival. Yeah. But I think there is a way to still thrive.
Yeah. Yeah, and like both of you have said, that you don't want to answer the door when grief comes knocking. It's easy to just go away, not right now, I'm busy, I'm doing something else. But it's best to just invite grief in for that cup of tea, like you guys have said. Okay, so we're going to break, and then we'll be right back with Donna here on New Life Live. Thank you so much for listening today and for watching as well. Make sure to keep us in your prayers and the people who call in too.
I went to Every Man's Battle in 2012. My sexual integrity was not what it should have been. I sought out affairs, whether physical or emotional. Until I came to Every Man's Battle, I didn't understand that would never fill that void.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity. Impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography.
The shame and guilt was overwhelming.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
You will discover what the true root of your pain is, and you will discover how to overcome.
You don't have to struggle any longer. Get help in Orange County, California, September 26th through the 28th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Enter the code NLL for a discount.
Every Man's Battle saved my life.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. For over over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Hey, Donna, you still with us?
I am.
All right,
and
thanks.
You probably are right. I probably am hiding from it, but that's the only way I can function now. But I also want to point out, not everybody understands what it feels like to lose a child, the pain.
Absolutely not.
Well, in your case, you've lost 2 children, so that's even...
I've lost. It's even worse.
Yeah.
But I don't want to disrespect anybody, but I've lost a parent. I've lost 2 siblings, and those were very, very painful. But when you lose a child, it's another. It's just.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
You can't explain it.
Right. And Donna, if you were listening to that other show, when we talked about this, we were also talking about, I brought up the fact that us mothers, we carry, some of our children's DNA in our bodies, often lifelong. Mm-hmm. Some of our cells intermix. And so, yeah, it is very different. It feels very physical, right? And just the relationship is just so different than any other type of relationship. I think that the good to have that awareness that maybe you are running from it. And again, some days are just survival. Right. But it's important to know God doesn't waste anything. This life is painful. And part of honoring those who have passed, right, is to carry on. And you are carrying on. But to begin, after a certain point of grief, to remember them with fondness and joy. And they are still a part of your world because you hold them inside of you. And the fact that you also have other children, that also helps you carry on versus someone who has lost a child and has no one else. Mm-hmm. Getting in a group, either online or in person, with other parents who have lost adult children or children, one of yours was not an adult, can be helpful because, yes, people who have lost children feel very misunderstood. They feel like aliens in the church and that nobody gets it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, Donna,
you're right.
Yeah, just for calling in today, we want to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Workbook for Grief. It's available for purchase in the newlife.com store. And if you want to go back and listen to the full episode that you heard, or anybody listening who's wondering, oh, you guys talked about this before. We talk about it all the time, but this specific episode was last Tuesday, August 26th. You can look for it online on YouTube or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Brian Perez here with Dr. Jill Hubbard and JJ West. JJ is one of the presenters at our Every Man's Battle Intensive, also at our Intimacy and Marriage Weekend Workshop. And later this month, I tell you, we keep JJ very busy. He's always doing something. He's going to be the presenter at a one-day webinar that we're calling Renewing Love. JJ, who is this for?
Gosh, it's for really everybody. It's for couples and individuals. It's primarily designed for couples. It's primarily designed for couples who either are at a point in their marriage where things have drifted apart and we feel like we're roommates, we feel like we don't have that connection anymore, and wanting to renew that, wanting to get back to that place. And it's also for couples who have experienced deep pain and division like betrayal, and how do we learn to trust again? But it's also for individuals who maybe their spouse is not at a place where they're willing to work, where they even agree that there's a problem to be worked on. There's still something for you as well to gain from the webinar, because we're going to be looking at all the different aspects of how do we bring our relationships, our marriages, under God's healing touch. How do we practically move from, I feel stuck, I don't know how to move forward, to God inviting us into a life of fullness, of joy, of that spring of life overflowing? Like, what does it look like to do that? It's going to be a great evening together. It's going to be a 90-minute webinar. There's about 60 minutes of presentation, followed by a 30-minute question and answer. And it's super low cost. I think it's just under $20.
Yep.
Use the QR code, sign up. It's going to be a great evening together where we really look at how do we move our marriage forward, where we start to renew our love once again.
And JJ, will this be good for anybody at any stage in relationship?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even if you've done a lot of work
Right. And the brand new marriages all the way to the marriages that have been together for 30, 40, 50 years or more, right?
And when is it?
When is that's a great question. I got
September
16th.
September what?
The 16th, September 16th.
Okay,
yes.
great.
So you got about 2 weeks left to sign up for this. Do it on our website, newlife.com, or you can call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And again, you don't have to go with your spouse. Ideally, you do. You both sign up. But like JJ said, even if you're the one who wants to do the work and you want to learn methods and tips on, imagine going to this webinar, hearing JJ speak, and then implementing implementing some of these suggestions, and the next day and the next week, and all of a sudden your spouse sees
it's like a good
change.
shot in the arm. Like you said, it's low commitment, but good shot in the arm for refocusing on what's important.
Well, and by the way, as a marriage and family therapist with a family systems background, I would say that even if you're the only one working on you to change. From a systems perspective, if I start to make a change on me within a system, the system has to adjust to that change. And so if you feel like your spouse isn't willing to do any work, you changing forces them to change in some way, because they're part of the same system. Right? And that's what we're really going to be looking at, is how do I turn the focus, rather than focused on why won't you do what I want you to do and stop doing what I don't want you to do, if instead I turn the focus on what is it that I need to do to be part of the change that I'm hoping for.
Oh, I love that.
Yep. Get more information at newlife.com. Now, every marriage goes through seasons of difficulty. The longer you're married, the more you realize this, right? But you might think, well, I've done this 30 years, whatever. I've noticed that if you wait long enough, this too shall pass. Is that the right way to look at marital conflict and issues that come our way?
I'm going to say a big no.
Okay.
No, because the problems don't repair themselves. Now, we can get to a place where I move on and I focus on other things.
We resign ourselves, right?
Right. Exactly. It's resignation, not repair and restoration.
That's right.
And we don't want to settle for resignation.
No.
Right.
We want to move toward restoration, because that's what God came to do, right? It says Jesus came to seek and to save that which was lost, not the lost only. He did come to seek and save our souls that were lost, but he also came to seek and save that which was lost. In other words, to restore all broken things to the fullness that he designed them for, including our marriages.
Yep. Came to give us life, and life more abundantly. So just like the last webinar we did, like JJ said, this one costs less than $20 per person. You guys are running out of excuses to fix your marriage. It costs too much. Not this webinar. It's too far. No, this one's in your house. We don't have time. No, 90 minutes, including 30 minutes of Q&A. But Okay, how do I sign up? That's what everybody's saying right now.
Yeah.
So go to our website,
Yeah.
newlife.com, or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. On our website, newlife.com, do a search for Renewing Love, and you'll get all the information. It's on Tuesday, September 16th at 7 p.m. I want to say 5 p.m. That's 5 p.m. California time, 7 p.m. Central time. All the details at newlife.com. And while you are on newlife.com, make a donation so that we can continue doing the work that we do here at New Life. We love helping people who are in the worst parts of their life, and like the ones that are going to call in tomorrow. Like you, if you couldn't call in today, we look forward to hearing from you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.